Morning world, Hippy Trev here. This is part 2 of the Simon Ellington Western Star build. Anyway, let's get on to where I'm at the moment. As I said in the last video, got the frame rails together, they're nice and straight. Got all the front end on and all the steering working, and the wheels do actually, the steering does actually turn. The rear end's all together. These instructions are actually quite good. The instruction sheet is pretty good on this model, but for somehow I got each one of these backing plates on the wrong side and upside down. So when I went to install the diffs, the air brakes were hitting up against here and here, and so basically, lucky the glue wasn't that solid, I could pull it all off and get it all right. So, I mean, I read the instruction sheets. It's a bastard being dyslexic because everything just doesn't go in right. So, but at least I was able to fix it. So anyway, all that's together. So all that's together and looking pretty good, ready for the next stage. It's really nice building a model that when you put the pieces together, they actually line up, they fit. Like the shockeys, where are they? Can't see. Like even just the shockeys on the inside there, they just dropped into their holes, lined straight up onto the diffs. It was such a pleasure, unlike some of the AMT and PMC models. Things just don't line up. You've got to change things, you've got to cut things, you've got to move things. So anyway, so the frame rails together and really happy with that. It's going really well. Yes, I did primer up some of the black parts, but I found with my paint it did stick to a lot of the parts, but I did with the main engine, when I put that together, while it was on the trees, I actually put grain primer over the whole engine, and then I put grey primer over the whole engine and then just painted it. Look, I know my colours aren't right, we all know me, I fucking don't ever stick to a colour chart. And I mean, I've got limited coloured paints here, so I use what I got, and I try and make things different to the last one I built, instead of all being red or all being cut yellow or something. So we've got a mixture of colours on this. But in saying that, my paints did work. So like the blue worked there really well on the oil filter. I used a lot of silver, and I used a lot of the silver pen, and the colours there, I'm pretty happy with that. All worked out pretty good, and all the pieces went together really well. Yeah, except for the turbo. It's the only thing they did wrong in the kit. So when you go to glue the turbo together, you have a notch out where it sits in, and what happened is the notch on the turbo was the wrong way around. It had, instead of the blowout pipe coming up the top, or instead of having this pipe here come up this way, when you put it into the turbo, they had it pointing down, so basically I had to cut off the whole notch, round out the whole turbo, put this section on here first, and then line it up afterwards. So for some reason, they had their turbo notch completely back to front and the wrong way around, but I got around that. So that's the engine done, really happy with that. And now we're up to wheels and tyres. I haven't put these tyres on the rims yet, so this will be a first. Oh, they're the 400s. Make me sick wearing those. So last night was the last thing I did, is I ended up putting the rims together. And now we just got to get the tyres on. I don't know how simple it is. There we go. There we are, and we just pop the tyres on like so. So I've got all 10 to do. So I'll get on to that, and then it's what's the next stage? So the next stage is basically wheels and tyres on, putting fuel tanks together, mounting the engine into the frame, and a few more things, and then we start working on the cab. And the cab's going to be an interesting one because I've actually got to build the cab, so I don't know if we're putting paint on there. And always the floor is just awash with parts, trees, paint brushes, more trees over here, and my working desk, and that's the instruction sheet. I just pin it to my speaker over there and work off it there. So morning world, it's yet another day, and we're a little bit further on, and someone actually left a comment in one of the other videos. I think it was the army tank mint video I just did, saying, oh, didn't realise just how much work goes into these things, and yeah, a lot of work goes into these. I mean, you can just glue them all together in a day if you want, but I don't do it that way. I like to paint every individual part. I don't build parts ahead of the build sheet. I just go through each page at a time, paint that part, assemble that part, wait for all the glue to dry and so forth. So yeah, these models can take anywhere from 2 or 3 days up to a week, up to a month. So yeah, there is a fair bit of work that goes into them, and I guess that's why we do them, because they're enjoyable. And someone said, also said I must have a few up by now. Well, yeah, I've got a total of 39 built. I've got 39 models actually built and on the shelves. Be 40 counting the one I'm working on now, and I've just acquired these fucking GoPros. They just fucking turn off whenever they feel like it. I'm really over them. So yeah, I've got 39 models done. Be 40 when I've got this one finished. And I've just acquired 2 more models. One is a Honda 754 cop bike, and the other one is a 80s or 90s CB 900 Boulder. Here's a quick picture of them. There's also some mud flaps to go on that as well, so I'll do them much later. I've painted up the dash. I really love this colour. And I'm about to put a decal on, and I'll show you how I do the decal. And I've got a decal to put on the mud flaps. They're pretty much the last to go on. That's the inside cab part of the sleeper, painted that. I've painted my door cards, but I'm going to try and highlight some things with my marker pens. And also that's the tunnel inside, but I want to also paint this part of the tunnel black and do a little bit of a silver outlining there. But what I need to do now is I need to put a couple of decals on. So we'll show you how we do the decals. See if I can give you a good shot of how we're putting the decals on. So I've already cut them out. Let's see how good these decals are. Sometimes you get these decals and they will not slide off the sheet, or sometimes they just literally, as they come off the sheet, they just literally disintegrate. So I'm hoping these decals are in good condition. You can cut them out and put them on, but it's never the same. Just give them a really good soaking. So I'm putting this one on the dash first. This one here. So I painted up the dash. I like the colour. Then got out my little pens and put my little colours in, just using my marker pens under the magnifying glass to get that job done. No, not sliding yet. If they don't slide within a couple of minutes, or very quickly, that one's just starting to slide a little bit now. You can pretty much guarantee they're going to fall to bits. And I want to make sure I get that on the right way around too. That looks like about right. Come off, you little buggers. Oh, not quite sliding yet. That one is good. Get the water off. Get it there. Slide it on. There we go. There's one on. I hope you saw that. Second one on. Just got a little bit of a movement around into position. There we go. So there's the mud flaps on. And I'm just really hoping this dash decal will slide off, otherwise it'll just look crappy in the cab. There we go. Here's our dash decal. It comes off. slide into position, and there you have it. There's our nice dash decal. Job done. Righto, well, so I've got a lot more painting to do. I've got the steering wheel to paint up. I've got a few more parts to paint up. We've got to get the number plates assembled and some tail lights painted up and so forth. And then it's pretty much onto the cab, which is pretty much the last bit of it. But that still could take me at least a couple of days to finish this off. So, righto, world, I'll catch you a bit later when I've got some more done. Later, bye. Morning, world. Well, it's yet another day and things are moving very slowly. I had other things to go and do yesterday, so I managed to get the inside of the cab done. So I've got the seats are in, dash is in, floor pedals and all that are in. I do have to paint the bottom of this, but I'm not painting that until I've got the cab together, because what comes next is actually joining the cab together. And as I've learned in the past, when I'm joining big boxes like this together, if you do all that sort of painting and you have a little bit of trouble with alignment and you've already put glue everywhere, you're going to have paint absolutely everywhere. So the next stage is really basically I've got to put my door cards on the doors here, both sides, and then I have to put in my beloved glass. And it's very hard for me to get glass in without making smudge marks absolutely everywhere. So I've got the front glass to put in, which goes in here, which isn't too bad. I've got my two side glasses to go in. Now, I'm not going to have windows here, which means I've only got these small quarter windows to put in. So that'll be interesting trying to get them in without having glue smear everywhere. I do have this Mod Podge glue, which I bought ages ago, and is supposedly, excuse me, can't talk, supposedly is what you're supposed to use on your glass work, because it dries clear and it doesn't do like any time normal glue hits clear plastic, it just glasses it over and smears it and makes it look like shit, or you end up with big smear marks everywhere. There's hardly any of my windows that I've ever managed to put in that don't have some sort of glue marks or fingerprint marks on them. Glass is one of my big drawbacks. Sorry. Glass is one of my, usually my big failures. Nearly mess up every model doing the glass, especially when it comes to things like headlights. Can never seem to get in proper. So I might give this Mod Podge glue another try. Sorry, Mod Podge glue. I might give this another try. Basically, put the layer down, put the glass in there, go and stick it over in the sun, leave it like all day. Just don't bloody touch it. I find with this stuff you can put your glass in, and then you can come back 2 hours later to do the next stage of the model, and it just falls out. So I'm going to give this another go, but at the end of the day, I've never been satisfied with using Mod Podge glue. So then other next stage is I've got the inner roof to attach to the outer roof and put it together. And the way the destruction sheet is, I'm not sure whether I put the inner roof on with all the sides before I put the outer on, or I install the inner roof to the outer roof first. I'm very unclear in that procedure, so I'll be doing a few little mock-ups just to make sure I get that right. Hang on. So I'll be doing a couple of mock-ups here and there to see if I can get that right. I'm not sure, like I said, if I have to put the inner roof. So where did I put my frame? So that's my inner roof section there. I've also painted it blue there to match the seats. So I'm not sure if I mount the roof up into the part of the cab first, which is that's the cab roof there. I'm not sure if I put the roof together with the doors first and then put the outer skin on, or whether I mount that part of the roof up into that part of the roof there first and then join it together. So bit of trial and error. It doesn't really explain in what order things need to go together. So anyway, I haven't moved on much further from yesterday. Like I said, things have come up. I've got other things coming up the next couple of days, so I still might be 3 or 4 days away from getting this finished. So anyway, I'm going to get to work and do a bit more, and hopefully I'll be back later with the cab all done. Later, bye. Rightio, well, so it's into the afternoon and we're back, and it's taken a couple of hours to get the cab together, but it's done. Basically put a side on, let the glue wait. Put a side on, let the glue wait, put the back on, let the glue wait, put the side on, let the glue wait. When it came to the inner roof, I left the front off. I installed the inner roof, the blue part that I showed you first. Then I installed the cab roof on, and then I just finished installing the front. All went together pretty well, but there is a slight gap down here which I haven't been able to get rid of, and there's a couple of small gaps along here which I can't get rid of. But overall, the cab went together very simply and very well, and very happy, and basically all the pieces fit really good. The glass, I used the hodgepodge glue. I still managed to smear the glass there, and I still managed to get a couple of finger marks on the front glass there, and that side one went in. I cut these windows out on either side. I like to have my windows down so you get a good look inside the cab. That's just a personal preference now with the models. I prefer to have no glass on either driver or passenger side window. So the glass is in, yet again smeared as what I do, unfortunately, but it's in and not looking too bad. So I did use the hodgepodge glue. I glued my glass in, laid it down, glued my glass into place using the hodgepodge glue, and just let it sit in the sun for about 2 hours, and came back and it was actually quite secure. So I was slightly impressed. I might try that with the headlights when it comes around to doing them. So you want to do a much better job. So anyway, cab's together. It is 2 parts. I could probably sand and clean that up, but it's got all the stuff to go on top, which is going to hide all that. So the cab's together, pretty happy with the way it went together. You get a good look inside from in through the sleeper there. I'll just take my hand away so you can get a good look in there. But that'll be all covered up once the sleeper goes on. I've got the panel glued back in there. I'm just going to leave that on its side for a couple of hours now so that doesn't fall off again. And then it's to the third stage, which is basically mounting the cab, mounting all the bits and pieces, mounting the bonnet, lining that up, and getting all the bumpers and everything else on that goes with this model. So anyway, well, I'm going to call that the end of part 2, and we'll catch you on part 3 and the finish of the model. Okay, later, bye.